Good evening and welcome to Fresh Media 365 News. An amphetamine-addicted predator raped 3 vulnerable men. Dangerous Nico Baxter, 39, has been jailed for 23 years for his horrific crimes. He befriended the men who all had issues with drugs or alcohol before abusing them. He attacked them when they were in a drug-induced state. The first man was said to have struggled with drug addiction for a while and was mourning a loved one following their death. On December 16, 2019, he encountered Baxter with a woman in the street in Manchester. They went back to his house, where he contacted his drug dealer to get crack cocaine, which they took together. Baxter then left before returning with another woman. More drugs were taken. Minshull Street Crown Court heard. The man then went to bed before he woke up with Baxter on top of him. He could feel a pain. His boxer shorts were pulled off. He couldn't move, and he was powerless to resist and froze lying there whilst he was being raped, prosecutor Amanda Johnson said. The defendant left the room and went downstairs whilst the victim lay in bed afraid. Baxter later went back upstairs and raped the man again while he lay immobile, frozen and powerless. Hours later the man went downstairs. Baxter told him, "Let me look after you." The victim took an overdose and he was in hospital for a few days before he was able to report the incident to police, the court heard. Given evidence at trial, he said he has since wanted to move house and said the incident undermined his pride and dignity as a man. The next incident happened in April 2020, where Baxter met a man who was an alcoholic. The man was waiting for a friend in Stockport town centre where he saw Baxter and asked if he had seen his pal. The defendant said his friend was at his house, which was a blatant lie designed to lure the victim back to his flat, the prosecutor said. He gave him a small white tablet and the man asked where his friend was, at which the defendant pretended to call him. He asked if he was gay, and he said he was not and had a girlfriend. He was drinking cider before the defendant approached him with a syringe and squirted the contents into his mouth. He fell unconscious before waking up on a mattress with no recollection of how he got there. He then realised Baxter was raping him. It happened again after he came to, with the man saying he felt powerless. The victim left before calling police in a terrible state, describing feeling belittled and disgusted by what had happened. In a statement he said he felt duped by Baxter and said he was vulnerable. He said he had low self-worth and dignity and feels uncomfortable and scared around other men. The third incident happened in Sussex in April 2021, after Baxter had moved. It involved a man who was homeless. Baxter approached the man who was sleeping on a bench and invited him back to his flat for coffee. They both spoke about being gay before taking amphetamines, which Baxter injected into him. They engaged in foreplay, but the man said there was to be no penetration due to Baxter's HIV status. Baxter raped the man. In a statement, he said Baxter has ruined his life in one day. The court heard Baxter had 37 previous convictions for 84 offences, none of which were sexual in nature. Mitigating barrister Beverly Cherrill said there was intervention needed to reduce the risk of taking drugs with others. At the time of the commission of these offences, although he was HIV positive, it was undetectable, she said. One can completely understand why the victims had concerns. Baxter was found guilty of 7 offences of rape by a jury following a trial in February. Sentencing, Judge Bernadette Baxter said, "You have no remorse for what you have done and maintained that it was a consensual act, and you have shown no insight into what you have done to them. The offences demonstrate you are a predatory sex offender with an addiction to amphetamine. This addiction exacerbates any sexual preoccupations. You were always on the lookout for a sexual opportunity and were able to identify vulnerable individuals who were unable to fight you off. You pre-planned and had little or no internal control over your sexual impulses. I find you to be a dangerous offender under the sentencing provisions, and that you present a significant risk of serious harm to members of the public." Baxter of East Sussex was jailed for 23 years, with an extended licence period of 2 years, and ordered him to sign the sex offender register indefinitely. He will serve 2/3 of his custodial sentence before being considered for release. Once again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to enable this channel to continue running. You can also find even more stories on social media platforms and our website. Links will be in the description below. This video was brought to you by Fresh Media 365 News.
you.